There were some albums that just unexpectedly blew us away. Here's our list.
I'm going to kick it off with the Callous Cowboys with Celebrity Therapist. It's not very often that you get metal releases that hit the Forge Master's ears quite as hard as this album did. This band deserves a spot on this list simply because of how many twists and turns and the amount of utterly brilliant moments heard on first listen of Celebrity Therapist. What a deliciously violent ride, showcasing pure mastery and meatiness, not only in the songwriting, but also that gorgeous production. The Callous Cowboys are an Atlanta-based technical metal band that expressed a wildly volatile mix of math metal, hardcore, and rock in pure freeform genius. Celebrity Therapist also knows how to violently jolt you with force while showing you serious restraint into magnetic jazz territory. Honestly, this album sits toe-to-toe with some of the best in mathcore and hardcore genres. Easily one of the best metal albums of 2022 and one of the most surprising.
I love that you put this on the list, man. I can't get enough love for this one, man. Thank you, Papa Trenches, putting these guys on our radar. Fantastic album, dude. This band has been on an upward trajectory following their 2020 self-titled record. I almost feel like they're looking over at some of their contemporaries in New Zealand Ardor and saying, hey, we can do that, but like in the progressive doom subgenre. Somehow, some way, this band makes it work. I can think of this album and within just a few minutes, I'll have one of the hooks stuck in my head. This is one of the seminal American metal bands right now, just grabbing elements of their unique heritage and culture and sprinkling them throughout the music. Despite there being a couple of meh songs, there are moments of fucking brilliance on this album. Tough competition in this subgenre this year, but overall, this record is great and it really surprised me.
This was a heavy playlist rotation for me back in the summer. That bluesy goodness with the doom rock. Oh man, so good. Black Braid 1, released August 26th. For a native folk-inspired black metal band to shoot into the scene is very impressive. At first glance, you've got what you would expect from a black metal band with these influences. But what was surprising, though, was how cohesive this entire release was. From outstanding music videos to the killer production and songwriting, Black Braid seriously impressed and surprised the hell out of the metal scene with what seemed like was a black metal album no one was expecting. The riffs are addictive, melodic, and help the listener transcend into the spirit realm to walk with the ancestors of the forest. What an epic and addictive album that many of you are talking about, and rightfully so. I do need to say though, if you love this Native American folk-inspired black metal, absolutely also give our boys Nachachwin and their new album Kanawha Black a spin from this year as well.
Some of you guys were saying that this was an underrated album. I'm not entirely sure. It kind of goes on like the cusp of like underrated, maybe underappreciated, just how good it is. If you enjoyed this one, I think Nachachwin put out the slightly superior record, but either way, man, 2022 has got us covered for native metal. Corpse Grinder, had you told me that the guy from Kingdom of Sorrow would deliver some of the best death metal riffs of 2022, I would have laughed in your fucking face. Joke's on me, I guess, because this dude teamed up with none other than George Corpse Grinder Fisher and unleashed one of the most surprising and brutal death metal records of this year. I've spun this record a bunch of times, mainly because it's such an easy listen. The songs are vicious as they are punctual. It is one of the most underappreciated records from this year, and obviously one of the most surprising. Some Some fucking insane riffs, like I said. It really feels unique from George's other projects like Monstrosity and Cannibal Corpse, etc., etc. This is a self-titled album worthy of listening.
I can't believe this Meathead project ended up being such an awesome record.
I know.
It really is very surprising. Next one on my list, Schizophrenia, Recollections of the Insane, released February 17th. Hailing from New Jersey, Schizophrenia mix all of the best elements of thrash from many different subgenres to pay homage to the glory days. This is the band's first full-length record, which is why it made this list for me and why it was so surprising, with killer riffing, razor-sharp leads, and a tight 43-minute runtime. I love the production too. You've got that modern power, but still clearly influenced by 80s and 90s thrash records of the past. The album has some of the coolest and intense riffing that I've heard on a record this year in the subgenre. There's so many mind-blowing moments on the record, on a debut album no less, that I found myself returning to this record time and time again throughout 2022. For a record to surprise me this much and have the staying power in my playlist since February, it deserves a spot on this list.
Fantastic pick, bro. This was definitely something that went under the radar for a lot of us, and I'm glad that we both caught on to it. It's so good. I don't really know if I'd consider this one a surprise, just because it's fucking amorphous, dude. The Queen of Time was a tough record to follow up. That was one of their better ones in recent years. I think Halo takes the cake between the two, if you ask me, though, man. Between this one and my next pick, this is just one of those albums that I had to put on the year-end list simply because it's so fucking good. All the singles, magnificent. We definitely did some nice reactions to those. If you haven't checked them out, go watch those. Why not? At the rest of the album, it really just holds its own, masterfully displaying this band that has been around for decades, dude. Decades. It's crazy. This band has again delivered some meh records in the past, but man, these last two have been right on the mark. Another killer one from these masters of Finnish melodic whatever they're doing at this point.
Progressive doom melodic death metal, I guess.
Yeah.
An Abstract Illusion, whoa. We've been talking about An Abstract Illusion a lot on this channel, and they deserve a spot on this list just because of how awestruck this band left us after the first listen. This album surprised the hell out of the both of us, especially because we had never heard of the band prior to Woe's release. This record is ruthless, emotional, drenched with atmosphere, and just completely dreary. I don't typically go for the progressive metal side of releases, and everything here, though, is executed to precision. The production is stunning, pushing that balance of vicious and beautiful. The songwriting is pristine, favoring twists and turns, but unafraid to jam on those long and contemplative instrumental sections in between the brutishness of the riffing. This band has been getting a lot of recognition in 2022, and it's completely deserved.
I don't even know if they should be on the underrated list, but I just feel like we need to put them on as most lists as possible to give them the recognition. This very well could be in the top 3 albums of this year. Just the way that they're moving metal music and how it encapsulates emotion, how it encapsulates the feeling. It's crazy. This is easily one of the best albums of the year. If you haven't listened to it, cut it out, pause this, go play it. One of our absolute favorites from this year. Honestly, we could have done a progressive metal list maybe, but there probably would have not have been 10 picks on it. This would have been on it though, guaranteed. This one is surprising to me, mainly because I'm a fairly new fan, guilty. Who would have thought that a bunch of Canadians in their 50s would deliver something so fresh and absolutely relevant in this time? These guys know their sound, their confidence in their approach is unmatched on this record. Synchro Anarchy feels like an album put together by a bunch of guys who've just been doing this for a long fucking time, and it just comes out of them naturally. It doesn't sound forced whatsoever. I'm not really sure how to describe the sound on this record, other than it's like you're in an Outer Limits episode. You're getting plugged into this computer simulation and you're just watching this foreign futuristic world play out in front of you. By the time this record is over, you're ripped out of the Matrix and shoved back into reality, only to wonder, like, what the fuck just happened to me, man? A totally unexpected gem. I love this album.
It's such a crazy thing, too, that this band has been around for this long and blew away, like, new fans.
Yeah,
really,
dude.
that's why it belongs on this list.
Yeah.
Bloodywood, Rock Shock, released February 18th. Bloodywood are a goddamn brilliant metal band, mixing elements of nu metal and symphonic extreme metal into one unbelievable package. There's elements of 90s and 2000s Soulfly, Puya, and POD, but with far more aggression and addictive song structures, and it's bursting with creativity. Their use of ethnic instruments add an unbelievably large amount of cultural impact to an otherwise simplistic but effective heavy rhythm section of the band. The hip-hop influences have a killer rhythm and flow and are honestly the perfect blend. This band surprised the hell out of both of us with their ability to transcend genres and mix what sounds like Amorphous and L.O.80 with aggressive hip-hop covering political and moral issues plaguing our social worlds today.
Oh man, yes, oh man, need oh man.
We said it in our reactions of their material, metal needs more of the collaborations that are within Bloodywood and on Rock Shock. This album is the perfect example of a welcomed and killer surprise for metal in 2022.
Body Count fans, Run DMC fans, if you love that fusion of hip hop and like aggressive metal, you're gonna find something really cool here. We've said it before, this is like a bridge band that's gonna get a lot of new metal fans into the more extreme music. This was such a cool album.
This is what I've been waiting my whole life for. Don't give me a call, don't tell me why. This is my time.
All right, Rob, from the Metal Meltdown, I see you, bro. I saw that you put this album on your most disappointed. Damn! Honestly, though, I could see your point, but hear me out here. I'm fairly new to Necrogoblicon myself, but I mean, I think at this point, for me to get into them, I think I got into them at a fairly solid point in their career. This is yet another album that I can think of, and I can immediately hear the chorus on This Is It. I fucking love that song, dude. Overall, nothing really draws lines in the sand for this album, but I think that I enjoyed this more than I expected, and I will probably continue to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a solid pick. For a gimmick band, I'm surprised that I also enjoyed this as much as I did. And because Gwar was kind of disappointing, this is sort of in the same vein in a lot of ways. In my opinion, a lot better. What were your most surprising metal records of 2022? Leave them down in the comments below.
As always, go with the gods, our Forge Master brethren. Don't let the Rock Shock devour you.
See you next time.